Good morning. Thank you for tuning in today to the Office of Teaching and Learning Webcast. I'm Amanda Ellis, Associate Commissioner over this office, and we're glad that you took time to watch. Today we're going to be focusing on the Social Studies Standards Revision. This is up and coming. As you know, we are heavily involved in the standards review process. I'm happy to have Kyle Lee and Lauren Galicchio today. Thanks, guys, for being here. They're going to share some information. Also, the Commissioner's hoping to stop in today and speak to you as well about Social Studies Standards. It's been long awaited, and so it is time to begin this process. But before I turn this over, I want to make sure and remind you to please tune in to the app, gosoapbox.com. You can see this at the bottom of your screen with the password OTL. This will give you an opportunity to ask questions during the webcast that we'll do our best to address, so we can meet your needs and be able to clarify any information or questions that you may have. So at this time, I'm actually going to turn it over to Lauren and Kyle, and I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having us, Amanda. So today our agenda is pretty straightforward and short. We're mainly going to focus on the standards revision process. So our first question we're going to answer today is, what is the standards revision process as mandated by Senate Bill 1 2017? Where are we now? And then also we're going to look at how you can stay connected and informed on the social studies standards revision process. And so now Kyle will take us through that standards revision process as mandated by Senate Bill 1 of 2017.
Good morning, everyone. As outlined in Senate Bill 1 2017, we do have a required standards revision process. Without going through the entire bill, I'm going to highlight the 6 major points outlined in Senate Bill 1 for our standards revision process. So the first thing we want to keep in mind through this process is that the standards need to focus on critical knowledge, skills, and capacities that we feel students need to be successful in a global economy. Senate Bill 1 also calls for fewer standards, but more in depth to help facilitate that student mastery of learning. And lastly, communicate expectations more clearly and concisely. We want to ensure that not only our teachers can understand our standards, but our parents, our students, and the general public as well. Further, Senate Bill 1 calls for the standards to be based on evidence-based research to help us inform that process. And we also want to look at international benchmarks because we are in a global society now. Last, we want to ensure that the standards are not only horizontally aligned, but vertically aligned too. And that from K all the way through 12, our elementary through our up to post-secondary, each student can be successful and that those standards are aligned and connected to one another. On your screen, you're going to see the academic standards schedule. Here are the standards that are currently being evaluated, reviewed, and developed. We have our health and physical education standards. Our ELA standards are getting ready to start this month. Our mathematics standards review is getting ready to start this month. Our historical and cultural influences of the Bible has already begun. The webinar here is for social studies, so those will be starting this month. Our world languages and our library media standards are scheduled later in 2018 to begin the review process. So who's involved in the process? According to Senate Bill 1, first and foremost, our KDE consultants. We also want our general public to be involved. We have business community members that will be joining our advisory panel groups. Further, we also ask for the public's comments and feedback anytime we make changes or we're trying to evaluate where we stand with our standards. And let me just say that that feedback is crucial to us throughout this process. Even in some of the standards reviews that we've already done, we've crafted standards, placed them out for public feedback and comment, and that feedback and comment provided by you and the general public has drastically changed some of the work that was first published. So anytime we ask for feedback, it's not only the negative but the positive too. If you really like something that we're doing or something that's going on, please make sure you provide that feedback as well. Some of the terms you're going to hear: Review and Development Committee, which is an RDC, is a group of teachers, higher ed folks, and business community partners. Further, our advisory panels are composed of elementary, middle, and high school teachers, our institutes of higher education, our post-secondary folks, and business community partners. The Interim Joint Committee on Education, We also have something that's developed in Senate Bill 1 called the Standards and Assessment Review and Process Committee, our SPARC. They will examine the process that we are going through to make sure that we are in compliance with the process outlined. And then last but not least, the Kentucky Board of Education. What you see on your screen right now is what we refer to here at KDE as the Monopoly Board. This is the pathway that the standards must go through. So the first box there is we form committees, which are choose teachers and members to be on our review and development committee and advisory panels. We will discuss where we're at with social studies in regards to those committees being formed here in just a moment. After that, actually today, Lauren, if I'm not mistaken, we are going to be opening our public comment for the current Kentucky Academic Standards in Social Studies. So if you would please provide us with public comment and feedback, that will help guide our groups as to where to begin in the standards review process. After we have that information, which is collected by ARC, our third-party vendor, APs will consider those comments, make changes to the standards as necessary. They will go to what I call the gatekeepers, our RDCs, who will kind of put everything together before it's put out for public comment again. So we will do public comment on the new product after that. Again, any public feedback, suggestions is extremely helpful to us. And then the process repeats. Our APs look at the new public feedback along with the new revised or updated standards. They create, make changes, and send it forward to the RDC, who is the final gatekeeper to the commissioner, who will send it to Dr. Pruitt for review. Dr. Pruitt is then going to take it to the Interim Joint Committee for their comment and review, and further the Interim Joint Committee submits to the SPARC, that Standards Assessment Process Review Committee, so that they can look at the process that we followed. SPARC will then send it to KBE, which KBE will do 2 readings on the new standards before they're actually implemented. So our timeline, that was a lot of stuff going on, but here's the timeline that kind of helps guide each of those boxes. This month and in February, we will be opening a call for participation to be on our advisory panels and RDCs. We will also open our current social studies standards for public comment and feedback. In March, our initial social studies advisory panel will meet to begin our standards review, development, and design. And we will also have our RDC meeting in March. April and June of this year, we will open our draft standards, the newly revised and updated standards, for public comment and feedback. June of this year, our social studies APs will meet for the second time. Also, our review and development committees will meet for the second time to look at our standards along with the public feedback. July and August, they will hopefully be delivered to the commissioner for review, and the commissioner will then take them to the Interim Joint Committee. September, our SPARC committee will look at the process. And hopefully by October of 2018, our first reading by the Kentucky Board of Education will take place. Then that leads to December, the second reading and implementation.
So as you're taking a moment to kind of digest this timeline and overview, I just want to emphasize where we are. As Kyle mentioned, in January, which is our current month, the current social studies standards are going to be open for public comment. And in fact, that period is now open. During this period, the public will have an opportunity to provide feedback on the current Kentucky academic standards for social studies that were adopted in 2006. Since schools are required to use the KAS, the Kentucky Academic Standards, as the basis of their curricula instruction, these are the standards that Senate Bill 1 mandates as the subject of the revision process. While new standards were drafted starting in 2013, feedback conducted by the department found that further revision was needed and the draft standards were not adopted by the Kentucky Board of Education. Since the KBE did not adopt the draft standards, they are not the standards used for instruction. The draft standards may be used as a source in this revision process, but that will be determined by the advisory panels. So today, as both Kyle and I have mentioned, the public feedback period is open on the Kentucky Academic Standards. To provide feedback on the Kentucky Academic Standards for Social Studies, please visit the link on your screen. We will have this link also posted to the Social Studies webpage at the Kentucky Department of Education. Feedback will be collected by the Appalachia Regional Conference Center, that is the ARC that Kyle previously mentioned, through Thursday, February 22nd, 2018. Due to the amount of text within the survey, it is recommended that the surveys be completed on a full-size computer or laptop screen. And again, we will have all of these links available to you on the Kentucky Department of Education webpage for social studies. Additionally, the applications to participate in this process are now available. To apply to participate in the Social Studies Standards revision work, please visit the application that is now on your screen, that link there, the SurveyMonkey link. Applications will be accepted through Tuesday, February 13th, with selected team members being notified on or before February 20th. Applicants will be required to meet 5 to 10 days during the spring and summer of the 2018 school year and possibly into the 2018-19 school year. Selected team members will receive reimbursements for travel expenses. Substitute teacher expenses will be reimbursed to the teacher's school district. Potential applicants are asked to verify the willingness of their school or district to release them for work dates provided throughout the year. And if you have any questions on this process, they can be directed to standards@education.ky.gov. And
further, if the Commissioner's Monday email that goes out to everybody, this information was in yesterday's email. So if you want to go ahead and access that, you should have that available.
Right, exactly. All right, and to just provide some more clarification on where you can find this information, if you look at the screen here, this is a screenshot of the Social Studies page at the Kentucky Department of Education. As you scroll down the screen, there is a link and information at the very, very bottom of the screen where it says Stay Connected. So obviously this information will be posted to the homepage as well, also to the standards page at the Social Studies section of the Kentucky Department of Education webpage. But on the bottom, there's some links just to help you stay connected with the social studies community and to make sure that you were informed during this process. So under where it says Stay Connected, there's a link to Kentucky Teacher to access the social studies section. And Kentucky Teacher, as many of you know, is a publication of the Kentucky Department of Education. The announcements will go out through there, feature articles, etc. can be found there. And I'll show you a screenshot of what that looks like just a minute in case you haven't gone to that page before. In addition, there are also listservs. So on the web page, you'll find that text that's on your screen and that link, and you can click that link to subscribe to listservs such as KY Soc Stu, and that can provide you additional information about the social studies community. So if you go to the link provided for the Kentucky Teacher, there is just a screenshot of the social studies page of the Kentucky Teacher. Again, you can find information about professional development, standards information updates, featured articles about best practices that are occurring in Kentucky's social studies classrooms. Additionally, once you go to click that Stay Connected link for the listservs, you will find that you will be brought to this page, and it tells you how to subscribe to the social studies listserv. I provided the name there of just one of the social studies listservs that will be able to provide you information on this process just to help you stay informed. And if you have any questions, we will take them through the Soapbox app as well. My apologies, I'm getting tongue-tied on that. But you can also reach Dr. Kyle Lee at kylelee@education.ky.gov. You can also reach me, Lauren Galicchio. I apologize for having to spell the last name, but that is Lauren Galicchio at education.ky.gov.
So I know that was a lot of information, and I thank you guys for sharing that. Just to keep everyone aware of where we are, how you can be involved, just as Kyle and Lauren had really emphasized, it's important that you provide feedback on the standards, even if they are outdated or things you don't like. There are things you may like and would like to see continue into the standards. It's important we hear your voice. Teachers teach this content, they're experts in this content, and it's absolutely essential, K-12, that we hear your voice. Don't assume that someone else has done it for you, or that because you like it or maybe you're not crazy about it and hope for big change that somebody else will say it. It's really important we capture your voice. And so, as they said, our third-party vendor ARC has provided the link. We will send this PowerPoint out to everyone today. It will be sent out within the probably half hour like we normally do, so you have all that information and it's very accessible. You also have their emails, as well as if you can't remember their names, send it to standards at education.ky.gov, and we monitor that email very closely. I'm going to give you a moment to ask any questions that you have initially, and while you're having an opportunity to type those questions into Soapbox, I just want to remind you of 5 things to know before you go. Just as a reminder, as we just reviewed, the social studies teachers that we need for the revision work, the application is out there, the SurveyMonkey. Please take advantage of that and have people get involved. We'd rather have too many names to go through and consider rather than not enough. It's important that your voices are heard and that your work is honored. Also, excuse me, for principals and assistant principals, there's 3 professional learning opportunities through our P3, our principal project. Basically is just really an opportunity for principals to have professional growth and to focus in on their role as educational leaders and the challenges that face school leaders. And so we encourage you to take advantage. This is no cost to districts, which is a great opportunity. The personnel evaluation and certified evaluation plan work sessions have begun. Today is the first one taking place in Bowling Green. We have provided 4 webcasts to help your 50/50 committee to start to prepare for any changes you may or may not want to make and update your certified evaluation plans as needed to fulfill the law or exceed. And so please contact Christine Meisberger with any specific questions you may have. But it's important that you are preparing for that. We really try to get this in front of you as soon as possible so your 50/50 committees have an opportunity to make sound decisions about evidences and about the way that ratings will take place. These are important decisions for all staff and to help your teachers and leaders continuously grow. Also, you will notice in the commissioner's email that the new Commissioners Counselors Advisory Council is accepting applications. So where we have a Teachers Advisory Council, principal, school board, parent, we really were lacking in the voice of counselors, and now more than ever it's imperative that we have our counselors on board and aligned to the work of meeting the goals of serving all children and to address the achievement gap that we have. And it's essential that our counselors' voices are a part of that and that they help lead some of the decisions that are taking place and impacting policy at the state level. And so we encourage your counselors to apply for this opportunity. It's some great one-on-one time with the commissioner to be able to give input on what's really going on in the field and how we address some barriers and promote excellent practice. And then last but not least, our next webcast will be February 6th. We will be talking about world language visiting teachers. Now's the time to begin thinking about what employment opportunities you may have coming this fall and opportunities you want to offer to the districts and your students with students from, from teachers from different countries. And so we will be giving you information on that. At this time, guys, it looks like there are no questions, which is unheard of, but so kudos to you for a great kickoff. But if there are any questions you may have, please do not hesitate to reach out, email, contact us. We're here to serve, and we want to make sure that you are fully involved and fully aware of the processes that we have put in place to revise standards and keep you highly engaged in that process. We thank you. We hope you have a great day.